Happy to have you along, my fellow tech enthusiasts. Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison, always here to break down TechWatch radio and TV now. How do you like that? We're working on getting Jay on camera. That's like pulling teeth. It's worse than going to the dentist, Jay. How's it going, sir?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Actually, Jay's got a lot of work to do on a studio that he's putting together, and we got to upgrade some equipment. And it's a difficult transition from radio to TV, Jay. There's a lot more to it.
There's a lot to it, and then doing both at the same time, and you got a mix of stuff, man. We're gonna have to hire more people. We're gonna have to, bring out the big guns.
A lot of people have never been able to do radio and TV together successfully. We're learning a way to do it, I think, though, with some of my other political shows and some of the shows we're doing on the network. And we're really starting to put together some real cool stuff. What we do is we start with a 1 or 2 hour radio show. We record the whole thing live in not only radio, and it goes live on the air, and then we record the whole thing in video as well. And then what we do is we take the video and we strip out all the commercials and clean it up and add some B-roll and add some tickers and, do a lot of post-editing stuff, and then release a 45-minute YouTube video TV show. And we're starting to do that with TechWatch as well. I guess you'd call it TechWatch TV, huh? Anyway, so we're doing that, and then we're going to break that down into, we're going to start using probably one what they call short form. So the 45-minute TV is long form in YouTube world. And the 11-minute segment that we're going to choose out of the show will become the short form. And then you've got clips or shorts, which is different than short form, by the way. And a clip usually is less than 60 seconds. And that's kind of the equivalent of all the different, things on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And then oftentimes we break down a reel. So think 1 hour, at least right now, TechWatch radio show, a 45-minute TechWatch TV show, a short form 11-minute segment, promo segment, and then some teaser clips to promote everything. And then our incredible producer and editor, Zach, puts together a reel, which I guess brings several kind of little clip shorts together in kind of a fun, hey, here's the summary of what it's all about. And that's really, Jay, what feeds YouTube's algorithms the best. And we're studying it, learning about it, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, it takes effort, and it takes a lot of production time, my friend.
Zach is making it real for us.
In a real sense, yeah, that's right. All right, real TechWatch is what we're talking about. Brought to you by NetworkProvidersInc.com. You've got a partner when it comes to IT, folks. Free consult to help you get a handle on what we can do for you and more. That's NetworkProvidersInc.com. The show link is NPITechGuys.com, just for your FYI. And speaking of YouTube, Jay, an estimated 10 million YouTube TV subscribers lost access to Disney-owned channels, such as ESPN and ABC, over a big old contract dispute. Did you see this one?
Dang, I have not, no.
You're not one of the 10 million YouTube subscribers?
I don't subscribe to YouTube. Number one, it's very expensive. It's as much as old cable packages or satellite used to be. And I don't really subscribe to Disney Plus either. I have in the past a couple of times. I just didn't think I got the value for it. And, and there's been other issues with it and stuff. So I'm not a subscriber to either one.
That's actually what happened to us too. We had, Netflix for a while. We've had a bunch of different services. A lot of the ones we gravitate towards now have to do with a lot of the chick flicks or some of those kind of things. And so, Christian media, we gravitate towards that. We use Angel Studios and several others. But yeah, when YouTube becomes expensive as cable TV, it's like, okay, I guess it's modern, but I thought the idea was where we could, do channels a la carte and just not have to pay. But they've gone away from that. Any of the big services now pretty much have their own, quote, I don't know what you want to call them, cable packages, even though they're not cable anymore. But it's really turning out to be the same, Jay.
Yeah, it is. And, I do have some streaming services. I think like my son might have a Netflix account. I don't pay for Netflix anymore and haven't for years. We have Amazon, of course, because we were Prime members, but and
you have that not really because you're buying the channel. It's just that you get the
another example of that
channel for free, right?
Yeah, we're Walmart Plus or whatever subscribers. So because of the delivery and things. So you get Paramount as well on that. So we've got a few of them. But I would say the most video content that I consume is probably YouTube, just their normal like independent creators, and TikTok probably. I don't watch a
Yeah.
lot of like network television or stuff.
All right. Well, we also dropped YouTube TV because it's just too darn expensive. In the sports season, my boys like it and use it, but when there's not a lot of sports happening or whatever else, it's just like. And what I find is that's true. I like to watch shows like The Voice or American Idol and those kind of because I love music and I love the interactions between the
Right.
coaches and the education. But the problem is it's only seasonal, and so I want to get whatever services, Peacock or whatever it is that relates to that, but I just don't want it year round. And that's one of the things that these networks are going to have to start to kind of think through is, hey, what if I just want to watch a season of something? Can you give me an a la carte season of this or that? And they, that's how they first got their niche, but now they're kind of obliterating that. And I don't know why. I just think there's big contract money in it. This YouTube Disney dispute, for example, each side is blaming the other. YouTube is urging Disney to work towards a quote fair agreement, they say. Imagine Google asking for somebody for a fair agreement. Disney accuses YouTube of undercutting industry standards to reject competition. Very interesting debate between these guys. YouTube TV has offered a $20 credit to subscribers if the blackout continues for an extended period, and Disney is pushing for higher fees, with YouTube and others, whoever, has Disney channels kind of bundled. They're pushing for higher fees, they say, to cover rising programming costs,
I thought all the
notably
ads were
for
covering that.
sports, Jay.
Yeah, I thought all the ads were supposed to cover that freight for people.
Yeah. Anyway, I just find it very interesting because, yeah, they started out, we used to just watch TV for free over the antenna and then run commercials. Then they came and said, well, if you subscribe, you don't need commercials. Now they're kind of coming back and saying, well, you're going to subscribe. We're also going to give you commercials and we're going to riot because we need to raise the rates.
Wow.
And really, the
Merciful
question that I have is somebody just getting greedy here, Jay? Or is it really that expensive to produce all this? And when I've spent some time digging into this, by the way, I find that they pay their hosts way too much money. Now, I come from kind of the talk media world a little bit more than some of the entertainment stuff, but think how much these, sports people get paid. And then think about the coaches, how much they get paid and how much money it all brings in. And then you kind of go, okay, no wonder they have to increase their prices. You can't pay a single sports figure, $50 million and have it not just be outrageously expensive. So somebody needs to kind of back into that. But they say there was a 2-week blackout Disney channels on Fire TV also. So this dispute is beyond just YouTube and Disney. This is kind of a whole resetting of the industry if we're not very careful, Jay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough for those guys to make it on like 10 million a year. That's that's bare
Yeah, it's
bones.
rough, dude.
Yeah.
It's rough. You know what I
No,
mean?
but I agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of people, hosts in things that are just awarded these giant contracts, and they're good. And if you're in that position, I'm sure it's like you'll
Yeah, but
want
I don't
always
think they're
bank.
good. I
But
just think they're bad for the industry. It reminds me of musicians too. I mean, Taylor Swift has literally billions of dollars now, and yet her concerts cost. I mean, I can't even afford to go to a Taylor Swift concert. Now, I'm not really even a Swiftie. I'm just kind of making a point. That's kind of the extreme in the industry, right? A super rich
yeah,
woman, top of the
absolutely.
charts, expensive as all get out to go to where I think, unless you're an absolute Swiftie and you're willing to, you know, trade your left knee for it or something, it's like, hey, you can't really go. However, I have found a niche in YouTube that I like, Jay. You ready for this?
I am.
There's YouTube Premium. And we have subscribed to YouTube Premium. It's a lot less expensive. What it does is when you watch videos on YouTube, it skips the ads.
And how much does that
And
cost?
and it also lets you play or you get access to YouTube Music as well. I don't know all exactly what's in the subscription. I'd have to get the list of it, and I can't remember. It's like $25 a month or something. But you can have several people of your family be part of it, and so we've got me and my couple of my sons and son-in-laws and different people have got we've been added to it. So 4 or 5 people get. So it's kind of like, hey, you get YouTube Music. And you get to skip commercials on things that you watch on YouTube.
That is nice. It's sort of like Spotify. Now, some of those family plans, and Spotify's one, I've been considering switching to it, but the terms of service is you can only share that with the family that lives all at the same address. You can't share it with, your
Yeah,
son,
and I
your
don't
other
think
sons or
YouTube's
whatever.
to that level yet. They might get there. And again, if they do, all they'll do is they'll get guys like me to shut it down and not have it. So if they want to deny us the service, I'm just telling you, I'm not willing to pay. So my entertainment bill gets more expensive than my rent, my
I know it.
house payment, my car payment, my whatever. And it's just, I just can't have that. Anyway, hang tight. We've got more. You're watching TechWatch TV. Imagine that.
Sam, have you ever heard of this company called Bending Spoons?
The only bending spoons I've ever experienced, Jay, is when you go to like some clown, or you go to some what do they call those, magicians or whatever like that. They're like, hey, you know, we can bend this spoon with our minds in the audience.
Like
And,
Uri Geller, right?
yeah, you remember all those things?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the Houdini things, but no, bending spoon in a serious corporate sense, no.
I have never heard of them. But
Wonder why
according-
they chose that name, by the way.
Yeah, I know. You wonder, are they, are they the mental overlords? I don't know. But a Milan-based tech company recently entered the billionaire club, according to Forbes. Founded 12 years ago, Bending Spoons keeps a low profile. That's why we've never heard of them. Focused on acquiring.
I had a name like that, I'd keep a low profile too, Jay.
I would as well.
I mean, I'm just mean in the corporate world, that's like doesn't really engender credibility, in my opinion. It's just like weird, right?
No, but what they're based on is acquiring these brands. So recently they've acquired AOL, America Online, for an undisclosed amount. And
Well, they're going to have to seriously bend a spoon to make that sucker profitable.
Well, yeah, but I think AOL is a great name. I think that
It is a great name. America Online, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of
For a
traction.
world
I think.
company, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though.
Well, and I think I don't like, for example, I don't know why they ever killed AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. That could have still been a contender like Telegram or WhatsApp or anything else today.
It could have actually, if it had done it right, it could have been the Slack.
Yeah, absolutely, and it could have been the leader. Going on, it had so much inertia going for it to so many users, but they did acquire them. They've got Venmo. They're expected to close by the end of this year. That's a $1.3 billion cash acquisition.
So hold on, you mean PayPal is the Venmo people? So PayPal's going to sell Venmo?
I don't know I don't know if they're going to break it off or include the whole thing. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
So this
All right,
company,
well,
Bending Spoons, valued at over $10 billion.
Whenever you pay someone for your share at a restaurant, just think Bending Spoons, people.
We'll probably be hearing more about them. That's my guess. If they're buying up all this stuff, it's like Alphabet.
You can't spend that kind of money and buy those kind of companies without your name being mentioned a couple of times, Jay.
Yeah, it's like Alphabet. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that Google's owned by, they set up an ownership company, Alphabet, and you hear it once in a while, but nobody really pays attention to it.
Well, what do you expect, Jay?
So they have future acquisition plans. They want to leverage debt and equity financing to include noble investors like Andrew Agassi, Bradley Cooper. Currently, Bending Spoons has between 400 to 500 employees. They continue to hire, offering positions in Milan, London, Madrid, Warsaw, and remotely. So, maybe we should apply, Sam.
Well, if you want to work for America Online for all these foreign corporations, you could work remotely from America, Jay.
That's right.
I just find the whole thing very interesting. All these foreign entities want America Online. I just think that's fascinating. They also think they can turn it into a serious global brand. I bet they can, Jay. I
don't know how that's so branded USA. I don't know how you make that a global brand, but I guess you can.
Yeah. Well, what they usually do is they ruin things, right? Whenever these big corporate people buy, they ruin it. So what they'll probably do, first thing to do is ditch the name. And they'll call it, instead of AOL, it'll be like Bending Spoons. That's right.
Yeah.
Or it'll be
because that's such a better name.
World Online. Right. Anyway,
if you're going to do that, this is what I don't understand. If you're going to do that, let's say you're going to build World Online, you got to build that kind of brand from scratch. There's no inertia there. Why even buy America Online? Maybe for the assets or something, but you're changing the name, you're changing everything about it. You might as well just start up a new one.
Well, it's kind of like buying Skype. Just buy Skype, run it for a while, run it into the ground, replace it with Teams. Who cares? Shut down competition. Shut down. I mean, it's all about that for these big corporate folks. They don't innovate. They don't create much. They just basically merge and buy and shut people down and steal technology. And that's a pretty rowdy assumption on my part, except for the fact that there's been court case after court case where this stuff has been challenged. Think Double Stack back in the day. Think about DR-DOS back in the day, and many other companies. They get their technology kind of hyped by these other companies that agree to partner, and then we're going to merge, and then, well, we're not really. We're just going to do our own, right? So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised because there's so much like I don't know what you call it, equity, name recognition, and things like Skype and AOL that just seems to go to waste when they do that.
That's for sure. And what they need to remember is when they buy something, they're buying it because they believe there's serious value. The reason there's serious value is because they built something that people want, like, and need, Jay.
Yeah, in the
And the
business world, they
problem is
call
they
that.
take away the want, like, and need, and pretty soon it's like, I don't want that, I don't like it, I don't need it, it just sucks. And that's what they do over and over. I don't understand how these companies just do that. And it just seems like they just don't care.
Yeah, in the business world, don't they usually in a business that you're buying, they call that blue sky, right?
Yes, except for in this case, the blue sky, like for example, if you're talking about Skype, the blue sky was real. There was a lot of people that loved Skype. It had built a better mousetrap or
Hmm.
built a better, you could
It
have
was
a
the
phone
industry
line.
leader for a while, really before
Yeah,
Zoom took
yeah.
off.
You could have a phone line, or you could have a phone call that was over the internet that decreased cost, that was VoIP, and all these awesome things. And anyway, and now it's just gone. A lot of people got disrupted when they got rid of it too. For example, a lot of people use Skype for broadcasts for TV and radio. When they bring somebody in remotely or whatever else, they
Yeah,
had SIP lines and VoIP lines, and then Skype did some video stuff too. And people, and so I personally know several people when they drop Skype, they're like, okay, it's time to scramble. What should we use now?
yeah. We even had for
Bad thing.
the show, we had a Skype line where people could dial in using Skype and be on the broadcast.
Yeah, we weren't dependent on it, but yes, we had that. So very interesting to say the least. All right, Canva's in the news. The last time we had a serious talk about Canva, you and I were kind of jettisoning Canva because they changed their rates without any notice, without any kind of go forward plan. We were very critical of them for doing so. They basically got so much criticism, not only from us, but from everybody else, their dog, to where they kind of backed out of most of that, right, Jay?
That's right, absolutely.
And they've been kind of trying to repent and apologize to me and to everybody else ever since, it seems like. But now Canva launched its own design model. They introduced several new AI features and products out of it as well, Jay. Um, the design model, they say, trained on Canva's design elements, enables the creation of designs with edible layers across various forms of media. Okay, different formats like websites, social media, da 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 da. So they're really starting to get into this templated idea that whatever you want to do, if you want to do a TikTok post, we've got a bunch of templates for you now, backed by AI supporting our controls or our design elements, etc. They say key updates include an enhanced AI assistant throughout the user interface, the ability to deal with art styles, takeoffs from original designs. They call it, you can generate 3D objects now. Canva has integrated its what they call spreadsheet tool with its app building feature, making it possible to create data visualization widgets too, Jay. So I'm just saying they've got a lot going on here. This could be the cusp of Canva really taking on the world. Before they were more like a, if you don't know how to really edit, hey, use Canva because you can learn easily and quickly, and it's simpler tools. There's a lot of tools like that when it comes to video editing too. Instead of editing the actual video or editing the actual audio, you're editing kind of more of a timelined text version. You see the transcript and you edit by the transcript, and it backs into the real editing for you. A lot of this is AI driven, right? Anyway, they say Canva also released a new marketing platform called Canva Grow. They say it combines asset creation with performance analytics, and now it allows direct ad publishing on platforms like Meta, etc. This is huge, Jay, because everybody has to create your assets, move your assets to wherever, however you're going to publish them, put them in the right formats, do all this work behind the scenes to make it usable in whatever world you're in. For this service, it's got to be this size and this whatever. They're templating all that in a way where you can literally press a few buttons, have AI make recommendations, get some final tweaks, hit another couple of buttons, and boom, it's a marketing campaign pushed to these to these partners, pushing all the assets to the partners. And I find that really interesting because it used to be um, product managers and stuff like that, product PIMs, product information managers and stuff that would push their data to third parties. Now they're starting to do this with assets, artwork, marketing materials, and the company also um, made they call it Affinity Free Forever, and it's redesigned its interface to integrate closely more with Canva. So, what do they call this? Affinity Free Forever? Do you know about this thing?
Affinity, they're making Affinity free forever. It's another application kind of thing made by Canva. I've not used it, so I don't have very much firsthand experience with it. But it is interesting. I mean, yes, Canva has had some missteps, but I think they are so positioned so well with the average consumer that they are really taking a big chunk into Adobe and some of these other guys.
They are.
I mean, yeah, you're still going to use Premiere and Photoshop and stuff if you're a super pro, and those are very huge, complex programs to use. But people, when they're making slideshows, when they're making Facebook posting, when they're making a flyer for their they're using Canva. They're really just using Canva.
They are.
Everybody
You're
is.
right. And it's going to get to where Adobe and others are going to have a real run for their money. Before, Canva was kind of positioned, like I say, if you don't really know what you're doing, or you're not an expert in it, but you're pretty smart, hey, you can use Canva and do a lot of what these others could do. They're not near as advanced, but they could get the job done. They're backing in and pushing with this Affinity Forever for free thing or whatever else. They're really starting to take them on and say we can do it. The problem that I see is when these companies add a lot of these technologies, they almost lose their mission, Jay. The mission of Canva was, let's make it to where the average Joe that's not really by trade a video editor or by trade a graphics editor or whatever, let them use something that can it's like the 80-20 rule. Give them 80% of the tools and don't worry about the in-depth stuff. Who cares?
Right.
The more they back into all these features and giving you for free and backed by AI, they've got to raise costs. And then pretty soon, it's like they're going to be as expensive as Adobe and they've lost their whole edge, their whole mission. Then it just becomes who likes what ecosystem you kind of grew up with or you learned on. It's a little bit more about that. I kind of feel like it's a big loss, Jay, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Adobe's come out with Adobe Express to compete and things, but I think they're scared. I think that they see the Canva on the wall.
Hey, Jay, should we create some fake receipts for our employer?
And we'll talk about it.
Never, ladies and gentlemen, don't do that. Shame on these people. We'll tell you all about it in seconds. You're watching and listening to TechWatch Radio, NPITechGuys.com. TechWatch TV, TechWatch Radio continues. Jay Harrison, Sam Bushman, breaking it all down for you. So there's a new trend, ladies and gentlemen, as we've always focused on this idea. Technology is neither good nor bad. It just exists, right? And it's good or bad depending on who's using it and for what purposes. This is a bad use for AI, Jay. The worst use I've seen so far by the average Joe.
I almost hesitate to tell anyone, right? Because if people learn
Hey,
this,
you don't want anybody to do it.
Yeah, I know. They're going to start doing it. And don't do it. It's bad.
Yeah.
And that is, so employees are increasingly using AI to start or to create fake expense receipts, resulting in a surge of workplace fraud.
Companies can't be doing that, Jay.
I know. It never even occurred to me. But when I read the story, I'm like, well, duh. I guess that was bound to happen,
Yeah, but it's bound for you to get caught too, because an accountant's going to go, "Hey, man, is this really an expense?" And I'm just telling you, at some point you're going to get caught. And now they're developing technology to catch people with the same tool that they're using to do this, right?
Exactly. So the cat and mouse game continues. So the counterintelligence is companies are now relying on AI detection software to catch forgeries, which for some have cost firms over $1 million in just months.
I just don't know what to think about it, Jay. I mean, don't you realize you're going to get caught doing this?
You would think.
Even if there's not tools in place, you're going to get caught.
And when you do,
eventually.
It's not even like you submitted something that was questionable. Let's say you went on a personal lunch and then you submit that as a business expense. That's questionable. That's kind of fraud, whatever. But when you start making stuff up and just stealing from the company, it's like
it's like a different level.
Yeah.
And the other problem is when you get caught, you're not going to very easily be able to say, yeah, but this and that, and kind of explain your way out of it either.
Right.
It's like, dude, you literally created a fake. This is like blatantly intentional. There's no wiggle room here. What do you mean? You created this fake receipt pretending you spent money you didn't spend and you lied and got reimbursed?
Well, it's not like,
That's
oh,
a new level, man.
I bought this stereo and we used it at the company party. That's why I expensed it. You got nothing. You're just like, yeah, I just made
Right.
them up.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, very, very interesting use of AI. Like I
We
say,
don't recommend or endorse it.
I would say this, folks: don't trust the arm of flesh. Trust God. You know what? The Holy Ghost should be your guide, and the Holy Ghost will tell you never fake receipts to anyone, much less your employer.
Right.
Because if you don't want to get fired anyway, there should be a lot of reasons you don't want to do that. But I found it very interesting indeed, and it really kind of goes to show that people are starting to believe AI is just. I mean, they almost believe it's like a holy grail or a panacea or something, Jay, to where it's like, hey, if I use AI, I'm better than everybody else, or I'm somehow in secret. No one really knows what I'm. Don't fool yourselves, people, Jay.
Well, it is the VC buzzword of the year for the last couple of years, right? AI. We made an AI toaster. Oh, we're going to sink millions of dollars into that.
Well, the AI toaster, Jay, as far as I understand, is supposed to already know what kind of jelly you want on there. If you want honey, if you want butter, I mean, it does everything for you, buddy.
It can burn the stock results for today's news into your toast, so you can read the paper while you're eating your toast.
That's right. All right, there you have it. Very interesting.
Another angle for this story is also, we're not really telling people, to give them this idea, but a lot of business owners listen to the podcast and to the show. And so if you're a bigger business or you're never have aware of this or never even thought about it, it may be something to at least put on your radar and say, is every receipt we're getting that we're paying out truly original, or should we look into this?
Legitimate, right. The other thing is what we do, at least at companies that I consult for and what I recommend companies do. There's Divi and other systems that let you create cards for certain people and for certain purposes and stuff like that. And I want to see a receipt and I want to see a charge on your Divi card that match.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think this is people are saying, oh, I put this on my own personal card and I just need a reimbursement.
And I'm saying I'm not paying you for that then.
Yeah. That's a great actually
don't do that
countermeasure
anymore.
For it.
Now, I might make an exception if I believe you're a good employee and you've been around for a while or something like that, or if you literally claim on an exception basis, hey, the card, I went to Costco or whatever, and they don't have the card. Well, either that or they don't support the card that you have. Like I know that Costco used to not take Visa.
Okay.
Or whatever. I think it was only MasterCard, and then they switched or whatever. So, I mean, if there's some reason that they won't take your card, I know that there's a grocery store I like too. I can't remember what it's called, but it's employee owned. What's that called? Anyway, that store only takes certain cards. And so, I'm not saying there can't be exceptions, but in general, I want to see a credit card charge that's a corporate card that we've given you, tied to you, so we know your transactions. And then, and I even like the idea that we tie cards to certain accounts. You have your internet charge that happens every month. Create a card for it, use that card for it. And that way, when it expires or whatever, when something happens maybe, or if it gets stopped for any reason, it doesn't affect all the other transactions. It also helps you really code and keep track of transactions. And they're starting to become AI-backed accountants now, Jay, too, where accountants will run all the transactions through AI to say, do you see any red flags? And AI is starting to develop knowledge about common scams and things.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm telling you, you're going to get caught, and the accountants are using AI to do a lot of great things, coding, categorizing transactions and the like, which is really powerful and good. But anyway, very interesting discussion. Just don't do it, people. And if you are a corporate, or a company or a boss or what, they are actually developing tools now in AI that can help you when someone submits a charge where you can press a couple of buttons and see if it's real, Jay.
Yeah, you're going to get a score kind of like they do in colleges. How accurate is this, or how much could AI have influenced the writing of this paper? It'll be the same for your expense receipts.
Yeah. And what it'll do is it'll say, this person has made these expenses on these dates for a while now, so it's fine. Or, and you might even make it smart enough over time if you tie it to other software where it'll actually check. It'll actually go and check if, hey, was the bank charged? Was the right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of ways that this is going to come down. It's not going. It reminds me of being a little kid, and you used to be able to dial the phone and call like the bowling alley or the, hey, is your refrigerator running? And they'd be like, yeah. All right, well, you better catch it before it runs away. Jokes. You can't do that anymore because hey, they can track your phone calls, except for unless you SWAT people. But I digress. Except to say that they're going to have ways to stop this from happening for sure. Just be ready. Don't even start on it. But there's another huge trend in AI, Jay, that's concerning me even more than that one, if you can imagine that. Over 1 million ChatGPT users mention suicidal intent every week. Victor Erickson over at PC World brought this up and denotes the research. OpenAI has published new data. They say that 0.15% of ChatGPT's 800 million users, they call it active weekly users, show potential suicidal planning or intent. Now, that number's huge in my opinion.
That is
1
shocking.
million people. Additionally, they say 0.05% of messages display signs of what are called suicidal ideation. And I guess that means we keep coming back and talking about it, and we keep escalating the discussion, right? A similar proportion of users are developing what they call strong emotional attachment to ChatGPT with signs of psychosis or mania.
That's not surprising.
OpenAI noted these cases are rare, but they're significant because they relate to hundreds of thousands of people weekly. This information, they say, is part of OpenAI's initiative to enhance ChatGPT's response to mental health issues. On one hand, I think this is good because, hey, we don't want this happening. At the same time, I don't like these big corporations with different agendas, Jay, in charge of how we deal with people's mental health. It's, at some point, we're kind of inserted it. I don't know if you call it too low of a level or too core of a focus. I don't want ChatGPT, for example, responding to me or people around me in ways that manipulate my social or my mental states in ways that can be harmful. At
Right.
first, on the surface, it sounds like they're doing it for the benevolence, but eventually, when will they do it for the cash cow or marketing? Or, in other words, where does responsibility intersect with manipulatability? And we need to be very, very aware of this, Jay. And that's why I really encourage people, use AI for work. Use AI when you have questions to learn. But be very careful and don't think AI is your best friend, and don't think AI is more than what it is. All it is an ability to intelligently search and apply data that it already knows about.
Yeah, but
it doesn't know anything outside of its world, Jay.
It's very conversational, and it's easy for people to fall into that trap. And I wonder, on, say, OpenAI's part, because that's who we're talking about with ChatGPT, at what point does somebody hit enough red flags where you say, hey, maybe we need to get somebody else involved. Maybe we need to recommend a suicide hotline, or I don't know. It just seems like there could be some things that their AI could do that might be beneficial, or at least, when it sees things going down this path.
If it's really the right time, yes. The question is, who do you get involved, though? Do you get involved parents? Do you get involved government services? Do you get involved corporate world, psychiatrists, psychologists? How do you decide who to get involved when? And the problem is sometimes it can backfire. And let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm a talk show host. Oh, I am one.
Right.
Wow, imagine that. And let's say that I'm looking up suicide now on ChatGPT because I read about this trend and I want to kind of understand more about it. Are they going to be saying I'm doing suicidal ideations now?
Well, that's why I say enough red flags. Like, you look up something about suicide statistics, or maybe you plug in a news story and be like, well, how did this happen, or what's the background on that? I don't think that should set off anything. But if you're just talking about it all the time and
oh, sure,
and wanting it to either talk you out of it or talk you into it, it's like there should be some cumulative flag that comes up and says, we need to maybe take a little bit more proactive stance. I don't know. I don't know where that is.
Instead of reporting people too, because you can, not report and then wish you had, and you can report too early and wish you hadn't. One of the things I think it needs to do is start to talk people into common sense. Hey, if you're really having these thoughts, you should talk to medical professionals. And I think what it should do is generically send you to the right places to get the real help that you need. Just my humble opinion.
It does that with medical questions anyway already.
And it should. All right, hang tight. We're going to tell you about a big old email breach. Your password's probably hacked. We'll tell you about it. This is TechWatch.
Well, 183 million. Sam, 183 million accounts have been added to the Have I Been Pwned database after a database breach. And
Yes, you've been pwned, buddy.
you can almost guarantee it. I'm on one of these. I got the message. You can sign up for at haveibeenpwned.com. And pwned is spelled in a weird way. It's the elite way to spell it, PWNED. And you can get emails to know when get on here. Even now, Mozilla Firefox is doing this, where they're letting you know if your email shows up in a database breach. But the compromised data collected with the aid of Synthiate contains email addresses, passwords, and the websites involved. The data set is cleaned of duplicates and was intercepted by malware known as info stealers. This breach brings the total number of compromised accounts tracked by
now, hold on.
HIPP
Listen to this number.
Up to 15.3 billion accounts. These are individualized. These are duplicates have been stripped out. 15.3 billion accounts.
So the chances of you not being in it are slim to none.
Yeah. There's not even 15.3 billion people on the, so that's a lot of accounts. That's almost everybody.
Yeah.
Users can verify if their accounts are affected by checking with Have I Been Pwned website. They should change their passwords for any accounts like that. One thing you should always do, we always recommend, don't reuse passwords. Use a password manager or something so you can keep them all separate. And that way when something does, because and we all know this, when something gets hacked like this, they're going to take those credentials, your email address and your favorite password, and they're going to try it with a script on every website out there, from Twitter to Amazon to everything.
But this one, read the details of what it says it has. It says it has your name, your email, and what the service and the password and what your service goes to.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is pretty holistic too. Yeah.
On the latest one that happened, I won't say which service it was. I guess it doesn't even matter. It was Prosper, which is like a micro loans investment sort of thing that I had played.
Yeah, you're not going to be prospering with that, Jay.
I don't have any money in there. This is funny. I threw in probably, this was like 2005. I put $100 in there, make some micro loans to people to see what it did. Never really, because you have people that default on it. And so you some loans you lose because the people who defaulted, and they take a little bit on the side for the management of the thing. And, after 15 years, I probably had $130 in it. So it wasn't.
Yes, so we prosper, you put in the cash, Jay.
Yeah, that's right. It was a cool idea, but it didn't really pan out. But anyway, they ended up on this list. And so email address, I think maybe even social security number, like it was like
crazy.
Not good. Not good, yeah. What are you going to do about it, though? I mean, it's like, come on. The main thing you can do is, like I said, don't reuse credentials, because that's how you really get nailed on these kind of lists when passwords are revealed. But also stay updated so you know when this happens. At least you're in the know. At least you can go check and go, was that one of my favorite passwords that I accidentally reused, or
I can't remain innocently in bliss, Jay.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that. But yeah, Have I Been Pwned? And also check out Mozilla. They do some of that watching the dark web kind of for you as well.
All right, I want to switch gears a little bit to an Nvidia story, just because if we're talking about Prosper, Jay, it makes sense. I mean, Nvidia is prospering like nobody's business.
Oh, my goodness.
Nvidia on Wednesday became the first company in history to be valued above $5 trillion. That's right.
Now,
with a
Sam,
T, dollars.
Just, what was it, 8 weeks ago or something, we were covering on this program how they had just topped $4 billion and had kind of beat out Apple.
No, trillion.
Slot. Yes, I mean $4 trillion.
Yes, that's right.
And a few weeks later, they just hit $5 trillion.
Yeah, they say the AI chip maker stock rose as much as 3.4% as the market opened, pushing its market capitalization to record levels. And they say, I think Apple and Microsoft or whatever hit $4 trillion shortly thereafter. So these numbers, I just can't even comprehend, Jay. I don't understand them. And
all
now
driven
China,
by AI.
You're right. Now China and the United States, though, are kind of in a battle about Nvidia. Nvidia's kind of in the middle of it, so we'll see where that ends up too.
Yeah.
Like, do you give the chips to the communist Chinese?
I don't know. They will sometimes. If the U.S. wants to, they can put restrictions on imports. They can say, yeah, this is national security. There's a lot of stuff they can do that can change things or throw a wrench in it, and you can see value drop too when that thing happens.
Oh yeah,
things like that.
And I don't know that these companies can sustain these values, because again, I think AI is going to have to kind of have a .com bust to some degree. Is AI real? Yes. Have we oversold it? Yes. So we'll see what happens there. as well. Elon Musk is still in the news, Jay.
He is. Have you tried? So Wikipedia finally has a competitor. Maybe we'll see. Have you tried out Elon's new Grokopedia,
No,
Sam?
I haven't.
I
No.
have. So I've tested it out,
So just so
and
you know, it's not Rockopedia, it's
Grok, yeah,
Grokpedia. And it
GR.
comes from Grok, the AI tool that Elon Musk developed. I just want people to make sure they realize. Grokpedia. Go ahead, Jay.
It's Grokipedia, Grokopedia.
Or
Um,
Ipedia. Yep.
yeah, however you say that. It's basically Wikipedia, but take out the WIK in wiki and put in GROK, Grokopedia. And I actually have used it. I've tried it out a little bit and played with it some. And I have to say, unfortunately, because I had high hopes that this would be, it's a little underwhelming. Like and maybe that's just because it's early. He does say on there it's version like 0.1. It's not even 1.0 version, not even close. It's like 10% of a version. But just looking up basic things, it was hard to find articles for, current events and things like Hurricane Melissa. There's an entry for that on Wikipedia. It's happening now or has happened recently where it ripped
Here's
through
the
Jamaica.
details. Yeah.
Yeah, and it will have Wikipedia will have a pretty lengthy article on it, and
And it might
I
link
didn't
to
even see it in
maps
there.
where you can see where the devastation happened and all kinds of details. Um,
Exactly.
one of the things that you got to keep in mind is some companies wait quite a while, Jay, to where they feel like their software, or their offering is battle tested, and then they release it. ChatGPT did that pretty well. The first version of
Yes.
ChatGPT, even though it wasn't like it is now, it was incredible. It was a leap forward, and there was no question about it. Everybody realized that there's other companies like Google and like Elon Musk, it seems like they launch something that's half baked. And if it goes well, then it continues. If it doesn't go well, they dump it. And I don't
Quick
really
on.
like the American people or the people of the world, or whatever you want to say, being guinea pigs for this. You don't have to be as far along as Wikipedia, but you got to give me something that's like, this thing is cool. And if you don't have that wow factor at first, you're going to almost undermine your whole effort, in my opinion, Jay.
Yeah, and his point is he's trying to, he says that Wikipedia is very left leaning. It's controlled by people with an agenda, and he's trying to make something either more neutral or more conservative. And maybe he's getting that done, but you got to have it a little bit more fleshed out for people to see and use. And if the first three things I look up don't even have entries for them, then I'm a
Then
little bit
Jay's going to
like,
wait a year and come back if it's even in the news still.
yeah. I mean,
So
I
you got to be
applaud
really
it.
careful with that. All right, let's move to Microsoft, though, Jay. They're doing something pretty innovative with games. They announced that they're releasing a what version of Halo to go on the Windows and to go on the PlayStation.
So yeah, so this is going to be called Halo Combat Evolved on PlayStation for the first time next year, coinciding with the game's 25th anniversary. So Microsoft
Wow,
with the Xbox has always been in competition with Sony and the
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yep.
This move marks a strategic shift for Microsoft, stepping away from exclusivity to try to tap into a wider audience of different platforms. Halo, along with Microsoft other franchises like Gears of War and Forza, which were previously exclusive to Xbox consoles, have debuted on the Sony's PlayStation this year. They recently made significant acquisitions. They bought Activision Blizzard for $96 billion and ZeniMax Media for $7.5 billion. They bought Minecraft. They've been buying a lot of gaming, whatever you call them, studios in a while here to put together. They're really doubling down on gaming as far as to lead the way for Microsoft. The
And
newly title,
I think it's a brilliant move, Jay.
yeah, there's a lot of money in it, that's for sure, and they are definitely soliding up their position there. Halo Campaign Evolved will also be available on Xbox and the PC. It's going to include new features such as the ability for 4 players to cooperatively play a campaign online. That's pretty cool. Despite Xbox Series, that's the Xbox JS. I'm not sure the latest one. Selling at least 32 million units. It lags behind the PlayStation 5's 80 million units that are being sold. So PlayStation still has
32 million to 80 million is a big disparity, and they're trying to make up that disparity. But I think this cooperative, instead of forcing me into an ecosystem and I just, hey, eat crow, can't have anything else, I really like this idea to say, I don't care where you are, we'll get a piece of that pie. It's a smarter move marketing wise. It's a smarter move for the consumer, Jay. I wish TV and all kinds of people could understand this concept. It's brilliant by Microsoft, and
Yeah.
I guarantee you their market share will grow as a result of it. And to all you players, you got to dig it, huh? All right, for Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison, and the whole team at networkprovidersinc.com, we keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Make it a great tech day, will you? Thanks.